are B and A, and we are going to show you how to get the Tsum Tsum mystery stack pack that you want. First, we're going to start up with a few tips. If you look on the back and see the characters that are available, you want to pick out what you're looking for to see what you can feel in the package. You're going to pick out a package at the store. You want to start feeling to see what the shape of it would be. Some tips would be to look for things that are really different shaped. So for instance, Winnie the Pooh is going to feel really round and smooth. The Minnie Mouse is going to feel much like a bow. The Lucky, you'll feel kind of a square with some little knobs, and so on. So when you pick a pack, you want to feel on it and see what you can feel. This one feels really square, and I can feel some little knobs at the end. So I'm going to take a guess that this pack is Lucky. And our first pack is Lucky. So you can see the square and then the little knobs is what you want to feel for, so you know if you're going to get the one that you want to get. Now these packages are starting to get pretty tricky. They're packaging them in these plastic wraps to try to make it so you can't feel it. If they're coming with multiple parts, they're trying to stack them on so that you don't know exactly what you're getting. And some of these have to be assembled as well. So you have to be careful to separate what you feel in the package so it can feel different. And one important tip is to never really try feeling the Tsum Tsums themselves, because they all feel pretty much the same. Unless they have really large ears, maybe like the Stitch, you're pretty much not going to be able to tell which one's which by just feeling that. We have another one from Series 1, and I'm going to start feeling this to see what it feels like. And one other thing to look for on here is if they come on a stand and you see this really big curve here, or the big curve on the Stitch's little spaceship, then you kind of know that if you feel that, you probably got one that's similar to that. Now I feel this really strong curve in one of those stands, but I also feel something that feels really round. There's actually two sections that feel really round, and they're kind of stacked on top of each other, so you want to push those apart to really make sure to see what you're feeling. I feel two round parts plus the curved stand, so I am going to guess that this one is Figaro. And we have Figaro. So as I said, these are coming in two different pieces, but they're very round. So you have to assemble this, so that's kind of one of their tricks, so that you don't get what you want and you kind of keep buying until you get it. Here's another from Series 1. I'm going to start feeling it. Now this one I can feel pretty big flat piece. Nothing on here is really flat except for the top of Marie's little bed here. So I am guessing that we've got Marie. And there's Marie. So again, this bed has to be assembled, so feeling that's a little tricky, but you can feel that nice smooth parts of the bed. So that really kind of gives that away. And then another one from Series 1. Start feeling on this one. I can feel kind of a rounded shape. So the only things on here that are kind of rounded would be Winnie the Pooh, the Figaro, Sebastian, and maybe the little spaceship part of his ship. I don't feel anything that feels like a base, so I'm going to say that it's not Stitch or not Figaro. I feel kind of a shape bent in half, so I am going to guess that we've got Sebastian. And there's Sebastian. Start feeling this one. this one's pretty hard to tell what it might be. But I feel kind of a squared piece that's rounded. And you can also kind of feel like a hollowed hoop kind of thing. So that could be kind of similar for the Cheshire Cat or the Dumbo. I only feel 3 pieces, so I'm going to guess that it's not the Cheshire Cat and that we have got Dumbo. And there's Dumbo. So there's the base that we're feeling that's kind of rounded, and then kind of the space here that's in between the loops. Moving on to series 2. This is the second series. It's got a bunch of different figures in there, so you can see all the people that are available. Now, this pack gets a little trickier because they have more people to try to figure out, and if you've noticed, kind of some of the little shapes that come with the figures look pretty similar. So these could be a little bit trickier to try to figure out, but the key is to just take your time and kind of feel around and see what you feel. So the first hint on these is this feels pretty flat. Now that can be tricky because you never know if you're going to have to assemble it, but this feels like one big piece. And I feel a lot of sharp points as well, so I am going to guess that we have got Olaf here. And there's Olaf. So we've got the big kind of pointy pieces that don't need to be assembled. We've got one more for series 2. This one is pretty easy to tell. I can kind of feel one bigger piece other than the Tsum Tsum. And the shape of it is pretty easy to tell that we have probably got Anger. And there's our Anger. So these make it much easier when you've got the one piece again, that you just kind of feel the one piece. You don't have to wonder, what you might have to put together to what that might be. And then we've got a few from series 3 that just came out this summer. This one again has quite a few options. There's 12 in all that you can get. And this one I noticed they kind of do a lot of the stacking of the pieces to make this trickier. So one thing to kind of think about before you start is some of these look like they're probably fairly big in the package. So the Tinkerbell, for instance, that little lantern that she's in looks pretty big. The Woody star is probably one piece. I would guess the Genie is probably one piece, as well as Baymax's little space rocket ship that he's on. So I'm going to start feeling this one. This one has quite a bit of pieces in it, so I'm kind of separating this out to see what I can feel. It just feels like there's some little things in there. So I have the Tsum Tsum over here and like 2 or 3 other little pieces. The main thing I feel is a really big curvature for a base. So I would guess it's probably Alice, Bambi, or Jasmine. I don't feel a piece that feels like the magic carpet, so I'm going to guess it's probably not her. And since I can feel other little pieces in there besides the Tsum Tsum, I'm going to guess that we have Bambi. And there is Bambi. So you can see that the pieces were coming separate. These are attached, which makes it even trickier to kind of tell what that butterfly would be. But this is the main piece I was feeling that led me to guess what it was, is this really curved base that he'll be on. And here's another from series 3. Start feeling what we have. And I feel something that's really flat and quite big. It's about this big in the package, so I am going to guess we have probably got Jasmine. You can see that she's on the little magic carpet, and nothing else on this package looks like it would be that big and that flat. And we have Jasmine. So you can feel kind of the flat carpet, which they tried to make tricky because it's in kind of a little cardboard wrapped piece. And then the curved base, like I was talking about, is, you know, is one of the good things to try to feel for, to at least limit down what you might be picking. Here's another Series 3. I feel kind of here's a little Tsum Tsum guy. I feel one other little teeny tiny piece floating around there. But I feel mainly one big bumpy piece. So when we look at this to see what's big and kind of long, it goes from here to here. Definitely is not going to be any of these guys. We've already got Jasmine. I don't feel anything flat. So I'm going to guess that we have got Genie. It's a pretty long piece and it'd be pretty bumpy, it looks like. And we have the Genie. So one long bumpy piece, a tiny little piece, which is the lamp, and then a little Tsum Tsum. And this is the last one that we picked up this time from Series 3. Start feeling in here. I only feel two pieces. So I've got a little Tsum Tsum, and there's one big piece. So I'm going to take a guess here on what might have to be assembled. I think our only options are going to be either Woody, Patch, maybe Donald, and maybe Pluto that don't need to be put together. This feels really kind of flat and smooth. I don't feel any holes, so I don't think it's going to be Donald's little house guy, and I don't think it's going to be Pluto's house because they would fit into it. So I am going to guess probably have Patch. And there's Patch. So we were feeling his little kind of flat and smooth bed. Now, of course, these tricks aren't always going to be foolproof. You can make mistakes. I have made a couple mistakes, but overall, you pretty much can figure out what you've got as long as you take the time. So when you're doing this, people working the store might look at you a little weird. There's nothing wrong with feeling the packages as long as you're not ripping them open and damaging them. So I'm going to show you a collection. These are from all three series. I would say the hardest one that we have gotten lately to try to figure out what they were was Hero. Hero's little bridge came completely unassembled, and it came kind of stacked together and flat, so it was kind of hard to tell what you were feeling. The good thing though about that one is you can see the spaces in the bars. You can kind of feel that while you're feeling the package, so that was the main thing that helped with that one. And the only mistake we have made in getting all of these, Sven's little sled felt different in the package. It was my guess that that one was actually the Hero because I thought Hero's little bridge was going to come put together, but it did not. But we lucked out because Sven was one of the things that Bee really wanted to go for, and we ended up with him, so it worked out well. Here are some of the new ones all put together. They turned out super cute. So if you have any questions about trying to figure out blind packs and what you want to get, we'd be free to answer any questions. Thanks!